Carrie,
Hi.
Carrie, I have a message from Shri.
Hold on a second. Let me get set up here. Wait a second. Background noise on your end there. Let me take this out again. Here. Okay, something going on at her end. Why did that go white again? Don't know. All right, Sri's not here yet. Okay, let me adjust my visuals here.
That was her message. She's running late.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Great, thank you.
she said maybe 10 minutes.
I got it
late.
too here.
Oh, you got it. Okay. She asked me to tell you. Okay.
Basically, everybody breathe.
We're breathing.
We're breathing. There you go. All right. Hi, Christine. Hi, Serendipity. Welcome. Hi. Janet, I'm going to mute you. There's a lot of static on your end, so I don't know what that is, but I'm not sure why that is, but okay, we got a few minutes to hang out here, everybody. So just take a moment to breathe and hello there, Miss Christine. I recognize that room.
Just do what you need to do, Carrie. We're all here a little early.
Say that again.
I said, do what you need to do, Carrie. We're all here a little early.
Oh, good.
That's
You
my
feeling,
2 cents.
have you landed back home yet?
No.
No. Okay. You're still in New Mexico?
I'm struggling with it and I'm not feeling very well again. So
oh,
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, you went through a lot there for several weeks, and so your body's sounds like it's struggling a little bit, with not wanting not to be pushed.
Yeah.
I'm going to tilt up a little bit. I don't know if anybody else is coming in here, or if it's just Shri and I, which in case she could have stayed at home, but you never know. You never know. Let's see if I can get that up a little bit. This here. Okay. All right. There we go. All right. All right. Does anybody know what we're doing tonight? I'm afraid I haven't looked. No.
We're supposed to maybe have small groups, supposed to maybe, because it doesn't ever seem it quite follows the agenda. Small groups to do a short ninja practice and go over our research.
Oh, do that again. Okay.
And then moving from the heart to the throat chakra, probably things you guys did on Sunday. I still haven't watched the recording.
Kosha 5. Yeah, she did. We did some research stuff on Sunday. We talked about articles, led a little bit of practice, and she introduced Kosha 5. So, and went through AUM again and bija sounds and stuff like that. So we will continue along that line, I would imagine. So we just have, after tonight, we have one more Sunday, which is this Sunday, and then we have one more Thursday, which is the 14th. And then the official class time will be done. So just make sure those are in your calendars. Yeah. Yeah. Hello.
She wanted me to tell you that she's running 10 minutes late.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I think she just put out a group email to everybody. All good. Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah, take your bio breaks now.
I'm making some tea, so.
Good for you. Go for it, girl. Sydney.
Oh.
Welcome, Sydney. We're on Earth time. Just chilling, actually. Reveling in not doing for a moment. Not sure if Clay is joining us tonight or not. Janet's at home, so it could be just Ria and I in here with Shri. Let's see if other folks show up online. You get yourself some tea or your last bio break or whatever you need to do. Just settle yourselves in before we dive into whatever turns out to be the agenda for this evening. Hey, Karen. Welcome.
Hi, how's it going?
going all right. I'm practicing not doing right now.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm going to try a little bit of that coming right up here.
Good for you. We're
Oh,
practicing not doing.
What a concept.
yeah, I really need to practice that.
Yeah, if anybody wants to do some of their own stretches or just breathing, moving, please feel free to go ahead. I just need to say I've been focused and going since I woke up around 6, so I'm just ready to sit and chill for a moment. Hmm. There she is. I'm going to go help her. Kathleen, that's a great picture. I'm going to go help her unload and load in. So I will be back.
My mother just texted me to be careful because tomorrow's April Fool's Day. So.
All right.
Hi, Ria.
Hi, how are you?
You found some notes for me?
Yeah, like I said, they're scribbles.
You have a chicken scratch? Yeah, well, my mind is totally blank on what I taught after the.
Okay, so I can.
So even a few words, if you say,
Sure.
it'll start to come back and I can add it to that.
Do you want me to say?
Just say something.
Sound, yeah. Okay, so you did the sound vibrations for different elements. You can probably see that.
Oh,
right
yeah,
there.
right. Oh, so we did that afterwards. Okay.
Talk about throat chakra, the throat, Lord Shiva.
All right. Thank you.
3+ levels of
There
thought,
you go.
speech.
That's what it is. I
Throat,
wanted
heart,
to go
navel,
over the
root.
3 levels of speech again.
Smaller Sankalpa.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Okay. Thank you.
Koshas 4 and 5. I guess.
Okay, the transition. Yeah. Wow. What was that? Yeah, the markers, yes. Yeah. Maybe to get the paper also. We have that, one sheaf of blank paper. Did that come in, I wonder, when you brought the papers in? Maybe they're still in the back seat of my car.
I'm sorry, what?
There was, more papers.
Yeah, they're right here. I just didn't know which.
Oh,
I didn't
okay,
know
yeah.
what order you wanted them in.
Right. Yeah, no, as long as we have some blank paper. Yeah,
Probably.
yeah, we do. Yeah. Maybe we'll
That was the
keep
end
it
of
at
last
this
week.
for now. Yeah, right. You're gonna do research. Oh my God, it's just amazing how much is out there.
There is.
I'm glad I found some things to get you all started. Yeah, as you find more, if you'll send links, then we can add,
All right, so we're in session 11, Thursday, 31st of March. Welcome, everybody.
Yeah, welcome. Sorry, I'm still a little disoriented, and I'll have you all join me in this practice. I got the blazing sun in my eyes as I was driving here, and I still see a lot of red spots. My retinas are oversensitive with my diabetes. So I had to stop on the side of the road, get on the grass, take my scarf and wet one end of it and put it over my eyes, and then did this yoga of the eyes. So you charge up your hands, and then you cup the palm, and you put your eyes into the grail of the palm, the womb of the eyes, the womb of seeing. This is the fire element in the eyes, which needs to be soothed and rebalanced when there has been an overabundance of the fire element. I must find out what I can do with my car windshield to give it better protection. And this is in spite of wearing transition lenses. And yeah, so as we hold this and really allow our eyelids, squeeze and release the eyes, relax them. Do it 3 times. Taking deep breaths and visualizing like a cold blue liquid, just a thick, cold blue liquid washing the outside of the eyes, like a gel pack, a blue gel pack, soothing. And the Bija mantra to soothe the eye chakras. Sham, sham. The sha, the same as sha as in Shakti and Shiva and Shanti. Sham. 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 Sending more chilled, cold blue liquid. Actually imagine somebody's loving hands patting all around the eyes, smoothing out that blue gel on the eyes, soothing, cooling, reviving. Now whispering the mantra in the 3 stages Aloud, whisper, and mental. Shum, 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 shum. And as you mentalize, increase the sensation of that wet blue gel, nurturing, healing. Visualize the optic nerve on both sides. Visualize the pupils of the eye. Visualize your lenses. Visualize the back of the head, the back side of the brain, the occipital lobe. Rainbow light, the retina. When you look at the retina, it has all the rainbow colors that it reflects. Just such an amazing aspect of our eye anatomy. So visualize this. It's like a shell. Visualize like a power shell with all the rainbow colors behind the pupil. Those rainbow colors bathing the eye, soothing, relaxing, nurturing, healing, cooling, shum, shum, mental, shum, 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 shum. Bathe the whole face. Take that cooling blue light into the whole head. Wash it down through the shoulders, both hands, into the face again. Now the whole body just washed with this cool blue light 3 times. As you inhale, bringing in more through the eyes and washing the whole body, whole brain. There are at least 24 independent pathways of vision in our brain systems. Just to visualize a multitude of these cooling blue streams flowing through the folds of the brain, the tissues, the brain liquid, the organs, the flesh, the blood. This cooling blue liquid. The whole body flushed 1 more time. Now I can gently remove the palms. They're still charged. So you can use the charged pranic field in the palms 3 times around the face and head. Keep breathing in, and it's all golden light as we do a charged pranic charging station is what this is. Just like the electric charging stations for our cars now that are coming up. This is our own pranic, energetic Anandamaya Kosha charging. Beautiful. Let's just chant all the Bija mantras of the 5 elements as we are doing this. Moving them through and connecting to the subtle charge of all the 5 elements in our being, all the 5 koshas. Lam, vam, ram, yam, hum, lam, vam, ram, yam, hum, lam, vam, ram, yam, hum, om, om. Shake out the hands, releasing any residues, especially in my case, fear. There was so much fear in those moments of just seeing red and black and just rolling on the grass on the side of the road and begging the sun to be mellow and let me drive. Just to have gratitude for our most sensitive organs of the eyes. I know there are a few others in our group that face some challenges with the eyes. And so to really sense that vulnerability within us. My father, I remember for the last 10 years of his diabetes in his life, his biggest fear was going blind. And as he went legally blind for the last 5 years of his life, it never stopped him from writing and teaching. He was a giant spiritual teacher for 60 years. My primary teacher on Vedanta and meditation. And when he could no longer read what he was writing, he had a volunteer who would read aloud. My father still could write very fast. And from my mother, I remember when she lost her central vision due to macular degeneration. And with that hot Indian sun, and she never wore sunglasses till her 60s. Just wasn't something they did in that generation. So when she was losing her central vision, and she too was writing spiritual books, she would dictate to a volunteer, and the volunteer, and she had another volunteer for editing because she could no longer read the words, but yet they were such great models, both my parents, as their vision continued to deteriorate. They never stopped even an hour of work, what they wanted to give to the world. So may we ask that of ourselves. May that be our biggest sankalpa. Let us be instruments of that divine consciousness. Let us be resilient in the ways that our work must continue. And let us honor all the 5 senses, which are such gifts, amazing divine gifts, embodied in our 5 koshas, and bringing us today to explore the Anandamaya Kosha. The true nature of the self is bliss. Ananda. Say Ananda. Ananda. And I want you to learn this pronunciation once and for all. I have corrected thousands of yoga teachers, thousands of times. You want to get that right sound. Ananda. Ananda. The first A is long, ah, and the other 2 A's are short. And Ananda it's like an extension of bliss. Nanda is like beloved. Like Lord Krishna was called the Nanda of his parents. And so Nanda is beloved, familiar. And Ananda is the extension of that sense of the beloved that is familiar, which is our true nature of ourself. And so the innate nature of consciousness in our individual embodied self, that which is interlocked in the 5 koshas, that which is impregnated in the 5 elements, from subtle to gross as we descend through the spine, and gross to subtle as we ascend. So that these cycles of awareness that we go through endless times for every single vritti or mental manifestation, mind movement that arises within us that we wish to interrupt. When we want to interrupt a mental movement, an emotional outpouring, an impulsive action, and we do an intervention, then it doesn't stop with just one act of ours. It takes multiple times. It takes really 6 weeks of doing something every single day, as Deepak Chopra put it. And so and that's why Jesus was in the desert for 40 days. And most of our cultures have some kind of a vision quest period of time where there can be change in our pathways, so that the interruption of our vrittis, vritti, the mental cycle. What does that vritti consist of? Creation, preservation, dissolution. Now, today we're going to add 2 more aspects to that. And those of you who came to the office hours, you got that lesson that day. So I'm just going to draw a pentad here. Creation, preservation, also called maintenance, and then dissolution. And those who attended on Thursday office hours can help me with the other 2. When anything arises, it's created, right? Like spring, the rising of spring. Summer is all about maintaining all plants still flowering, going into fruit. Then the dissolution process, as the seeds fall to the ground. And when they go within, when the seeds are in the ground and they have to mature and they have to wait, what do we call that period?
Hibernation.
Right. Yeah, for bears, yes. But in nature, dormancy. And in consciousness, it is concealment. Also called Maya, the Maya of concealment. The Maya of what lies dormant or potent. So dormancy, potency. The equivalent of the tamas guna in a nurturing way. That which is dormant is being held. That's what the womb, the dormancy of those 9 months, when there's a lot of activity going on in the development of the embryo and the fetus. And from that, the last great act, revelation or grace, the descent of divine grace. So these are 5 great acts of nature are called Shiva's, Lord Shiva's 5 great acts. And for those of you who enjoy learning the Sanskrit names also, it's called Pancha Mahakritya. And where am I going to write that? Okay, I'm going to put it over here. Pancha. Pancha means 5. That's like we have the Pancha koshas. You can show off some Sanskrit today with your family, anyone in the household. What is the number for number 3 in Sanskrit? Oh, that's 3. What is for number 5? That's Pancha. Yeah. Actually, the entire number system we use all over the world today is originally from the Vedas, from Sanskrit, including some of the script for the number systems. Anyway, Pancha is 5. Pancha Maha. Maha means great. Maha also means wrathful, but great. Kritya. Kritya means acts. Pancha Maha Kritya. Just like karma means action, kritya is like actions, but what is done or work. Pancha Maha Kritya, Shiva's 5 great acts, or these are the 5 great acts of consciousness. Not only these cycles of the seasons in nature, which is probably how the great sages of India would, observe and be mindful of the seasons. We have the rainy season twice. So spring, summer, winter, and then two seasons of rain that interrupt the other 3. So there's 5 seasons. And that's probably how they came up with the 5, but also linking them to the 5 elements. And I'll give you a clue here. The element air, which is the heart chakra, that kosha 4, the element air is in the act of concealment. Sorry, I have it in the wrong place. The element air is in the act of concealment. And you have to pause and think about that for a bit. What is it that air is concealing? What is air holding dormant in terms of consciousness, in terms of life? What is in air that gets activated when we breathe? Because the very act of breathing, right? What is it extracting out of air that is otherwise concealed? And we have a more than a mile atmosphere all around us with the correct proportion of oxygen and nitrogen. So the gases that are life supporting are concealed in the whole element of air. So prana is concealed in air. So if air is concealment, and now you can fill in the rest in a cyclical way. Earth gives rise to creation. Water gives rise to preservation of life. All life is preserved in the water, is produced in the water. And fire gives rise to dissolution of that cycle of life. And the icon of Lord Shiva in his wrathful dancing form called Lord Nataraja. Nataraja literally means the Lord of the dance. So, and that's what he's showing in that. So if any of you, you look up online, or maybe you have on your shrine, you may have an image of Nataraja. Do you have one here by any chance? Yeah, I forgot to bring my icon today. I'll bring it next time. And so in the imagery with his 4 hands, his right hand, front right hand is in this position. It conceals the heart. And the hand is pointing downwards for acting, inviting us to surrender at the Lord's feet. So in this one action, the heart is concealed. The true nature of the self is concealed by the Maya of the phenomenal world. So air conceals it. Revelation or grace then would be the space element. Because space and time are, of course, interrelated. So I'm going to add time right there, which is never dealt with as a separate thing in the koshas, but it's very much involved in classical yoga, as the ending of karma can only happen when both psychological space and time are dissolved. So the act of grace is envisioned as a pregnant rain cloud that the yogis and self-realized beings always are carrying the grace with them, and the grace is falling upon us, but we have to go stand under the cloud in order to receive the shower of grace. You can't be somewhere else. You can't be unaware. You can't be in tamas guna, or your rajas guna is so strong that you're running away from the cloud. But your sattva guna must bring you under the cloud and receive it. So in all of the deity postures that you see, one hand is usually in this mudra, the right hand. And this is called the mudra of fearlessness, abhaya. Say abhaya, abhaya. Oh, there. Christine brought out her Nataraja icon right there. So for all of the people online, you can see the hand with the concealment, and then see his upraised foot. So you have, you know how well I can do this with my knee. I'll have Ria do it. Yeah. But then they won't see you. But they've got Nataraja there. So you do it for us with your, just come here and look at the icon. You know Nataraja. You know his thing. So I can't. So one leg raised, and the other leg is stamping on the demon of ignorance, stamping out the demon of ignorance. So in the 5 great acts, the praise palm, abhaya, fearlessness. And the other hand will point downwards, and that is varada. Varada means boon, the boon of grace. It's actually linking us to the earth, and therefore to our own root chakra, linking it to the earth, grounding us, centering us in the grace of the divine. So these 2 mudras are generally seen together in most of the 4-armed postures of Buddhist and Hindu deities. Abhaya, fearlessness, abhaya. Why fear when I am here? That's what it's saying. This is a song we learned when we were very young. Why fear when I am here? Like a Sunday school song. To remind us that the divine is always within us and always very near. So this is the grace, the descent of grace. And so with the Nataraja's 2 legs, the raised leg is the transcendence, the transcendental realm, and the leg that is on the ground with the pressing on the demon of ignorance is the immanent aspect, the embodied aspect of divinity, which represents all of us. And the raised leg, transcendental realm, is the aspect of consciousness that we will never know, the reality we will never know, Brahman. And then Atman is the part of us. And the other 2 hands, one hand is, remember there are 4 hands. So one hand is holding fire. It's holding embers of fire. So the dissolution act. And the other hand is holding a 2-sided drum. Yeah. Christine is holding. Christine, can you see the 2-sided drum on yours? I know they make them so small, it's hard to see them. I have a huge batik frame. It's so big. I should get help, put it in the car and bring it next time. You've seen it in my house. But Swamiji, who had stayed with us just during the time my ex was having the affair, and I didn't know. Swamiji looked at this huge frame Nataraja on our family room wall, and he said, Mataji, take it down. I said, why, Swamiji? It is so beautiful, Lord. And this is Nataraja, Lord of the dance. He says, no, you don't need Nataraja on the walls of a family home. Put Shiva and Parvati as the happily wedded family. Put Ganesha, put their other son, Subramanya. So have the family take down Shiva. You can put him in your meditation room. Yeah. And that was the Now you tell me, that was the potency period. The concealment was going on, about 9 months of concealment before the revelation, the act of grace that shattered my world and brought a whole spiral of growth from that. So the 5 great acts, they can be linked to the 5 koshas as well. And especially because you can link them to the 5 elements. And this is what in Shiva Tantra, the Tantra of Lord Shiva, which is the oldest Tantra in the world and is indigenous to India well before the so-called Indo-Aryan or the Indo-Iranian migrations happened, bringing the Vedas, bringing Sanskrit. So well before that was the tradition of Lord Shiva. And so in order to condense these teachings, because it's going to come right into our Anandamaya Kosha, the 5th kosha, to bring in the 5 great acts, especially to bring it in our witness consciousness, to bring it into the cycle of questions, to have self-inquiry for each of these 5 great acts. And to make a condensed teaching out of them, we've been given the 5-syllable mantra, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya. And at the moment I have, let's see, which one is which? Namah Shiva, Vayu, yeah. No, I'm not going to put in the which sound is which for now. I need to go consult this text at home, so I don't give you the wrong information. But just to know that you have the 5 syllables. Na, ma. Notice every time we have the sound ha at the end, you have the 2 dots for the character, which represents the multiplicity of the universe. She. This is called the palatal sibilant. Sha, she. Va, and yeah. Namah Shivaya, 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 Namah Shivaya. Each time you chant this, linking it to earth, water, fire, air, space. Linking it to root chakra, pelvic chakra, fire chakra, heart chakra, throat chakra. The embodiment of the 5 elements in these 5 embodied chakras, condensed to these 5 sounds, 5 sacred sounds. Namah Shivaya. Shivaya in Sanskrit means to Lord Shiva or for Lord Shiva. The way you connect to a noun in Sanskrit is built into the word itself in the end as a suffix, unlike what we do in English and other languages where the noun itself stays the same, and then we add participles to create the 7 ways in which we relate to every noun for the case endings in Sanskrit and somewhat in German too. The end of the word itself changes. So again, the flexibility and the malleability and the resilience of consciousness to adjust to the changing conditions is what gives us mantras like Namah. Namah is a fixed, indeclinable, like Hallelujah, like Amen. So Namaha is an indeclinable. It implies salutations. And then Shivaya contains within it the relationship to Lord Shiva, or to the this more secular meaning of Shiva is peace, serenity, one's innate nature, auspiciousness. The word Shiva has many, many, many meanings. And so the one consciousness that is present in the sacred pentad of the 5 great acts, the 5 elements, the 5 koshas, the 5 organs of action, the 5 organs of cognition. What have we left out? The 5 subtle elements. I think that about covers the pentads. Also, if you think of the 5 great questions, which are going to come up now in the witness consciousness, all of the questions we can ask in our inquiring mind can be broken down to 5. Who or what, kind of what is the subject? What is the topic? Yeah, let's do another pentad. Then we want to know, what happened? What happened? When did that happen? So the question of time, when did that happen? Why did they do that? When, what, why, where did that happen? The spatial element, and how, linking it to the actual action. How did you make that dessert? I love it so much. How did you make it? Who did that? So this type of questioning, this is rooted in the root text of yoga called the Upanishads. And the Upanishads are a series of texts, small and big. One of the smallest ones is on the teachings of Om, the Mandukya Upanishad, which is like half a page. And so through the Upanishads this is my own research in finding out that all of the different types of self-inquiry dialogues that are in the Upanishads can be broken down to these 5 questions. And these 5 questions then act as points of self-inquiry and guiding us into the witness state, more and more subtle levels. What might be an example of a self-inquiry question, say, for the Anandamaya Kosha? You're right in the, in our physicality, who we are in our bodies. What might be something as simple as, what am I touching? What? How does it feel? How does it feel? So it gets us into the 5 sensations right away. How do I sense it? And when is it happening? You want it to happen now in this moment, present moment. This is all about sankalpa in the present moment, watching the breath so that we can stay in the present moment. Remember, everything about Dr. Jha's research on attention is how to bring our normally distractible attention back into that stream that stays focused in the dharana. How can we bring the vritti, that cyclical nature of mind, the random mind, into the focused, that flashlight beam of dharana, to focus it on what is it you're touching? Who is the one touching? When the why starts to come in the higher, in our higher mental tattvas. If the who and the what are more in the manas category, you know, the sensory mind, just identifying what it is. The when and the where, kind of qualifying it. So you have to, you know, definitely use some buddhi over there. But the why and the how, which are more complex questioning, that comes more in the Vijnanamaya Kosha and the Anandamaya Kosha. Because in the Anandamaya Kosha, the fewer the questions, the better. It really is taking us into the silence of our being, but it's the questions that take us there. That witness consciousness of, when we say, what is that capacity within me to ask questions? I'm really asking about the how. I'm asking about the how. How does consciousness behave? So rather than ask this abstract question, how does consciousness manifest itself? We're asking in a more concrete way. Who is the one who is aware of what is happening? What is this capacity within me that knows what is happening? Who is the knower? It's a huge one in the Upanishads, constantly repeats itself. Who is the one who knows? Who is the seer behind all that is seen? And in the Bhagavad Gita, our Lord Krishna guides Arjuna, his cousin and disciple, through a triad of questions that are all about what he calls the field and the knower of the field. So I'm going to do a big triad here. So the knower, and this is the witness consciousness in Yoga Nidra. Knower, and the field. The field is Prakriti, material reality, the 23 plus 1 elements, which are what? You have 5 gross elements, right? And 5 subtle elements, senses as such, taste as such, and sight as such, all of that. Then 5 organs of action. This is your Sankhya chart. Memorize that table. It will serve you well. Then 5 organs of cognition. So that gives us 20. And you have the 3 aspects of mind, right? Manas, Ahankara, Buddhi. So that gives you the 8-fold Prakriti, the 8 ways of knowing. So you have the knower, the field, and the means of knowing. 8 ways that we know reality. 8 ways of experiencing. 8 ways of knowing. And what transcends that triad then is the pure consciousness, Chit. So this is the essential triad of the entire Bhagavad Gita. And the triad that is even more essential than that is subject, object, and means of connection. This is how we think. This is how consciousness knows itself, is by the reflection of every form and name that is conscious or aware. This is how even an amoeba recognizes that it's different from, say, a rock that it might hit and it withdraws from. So even tiny organisms have this capacity of subject, object, means of connection. So it's a very core triad And transcending that takes us into the pure awareness, takes us into Om. It's the 3+1, takes us into that transcendental state of Paravak, or transcendental area of speech, from which all speech arises, all sound arises. So knower, and the field, and the means of knowing. So for our witness consciousness, all these three domains can be tapped as part of the spiritual path that can unfold for us in the inner space, the Chidakash, to be able to ask who, what is also over here in the field. What is this? To be able to initially identify things. Oh, I'm touching a rock. Oh, I'm touching my yoga blanket. Then gradually move that into I'm touching. Oh, sensation of touch. Then just touch. Then moving from that sense of touch to what is the source of touch? Moving back to the source of touch, to the awareness. Where is the sense of touch arising from? Where, when, what, why, how? The means of knowing. How do I know? How do I know all this? What is that capacity within me to know? So the how and the why comes up for the knower. We always want to know why. And if we can be given a simple answer, we feel like every step that we are leading in life is somehow orchestrated by us in this very deliberate way. But life is bigger than all these questions. But these questions that address the fundamental triad of who is the knower, what is to be known, and how will I know? So who is the knower? What is to be known? And how will I know? So for instance, the Antarmauna, the methodology I've introduced a couple of times now, and I've written it up in some good detail in your class summary from last Sunday. And Swami Satyananda is the only one who has put it in any book form. So Swamiji speaks of in the Antarmauna, the inner silence, taking us to inner silence. We are watching this cycle of mind. Who, when, what, where, why, how. That's what we're watching. We're watching the cycle. What is arising? What is continuing? Creation, preservation, dissolution, how we interrupt a thought in its dissolution phase. You allow a thought to arise. You know what the thought is. You know what the subject of the thought is. You're letting it continue for a while. Maybe you're planning your new garden for the spring. I know I certainly am, and thinking of what herbs am I going to plant. And I know Carrie's sitting here. She's, with this beautiful organic farm that they have. She'll be planting lots of things and deciding where we're going to have more sun, more shade. Where's a good place to plant my coriander versus my parsley. And so as these, just allowing these thoughts to arise and notice and know what they are. So the creation, the preservation act, but then we're cutting it short, stopping it before it would naturally go into dissolution. Because every thought will naturally end. We're going to get bored thinking about where am I going to plant my parsley? Okay, now where was I going to plant my parsley? Oh, what did I say about where I'm going to plant my parsley? Okay, enough now. So we know, the knower in us knows when a thought is about to end. We know we're going to be done soon with that thought. But to have an act of will within us, this is where the abhyasa, the aspects in classical yoga, we call abhyasa and tapas. Tapas is the fire of spiritual practice. And abhyasa is the routines, the engaging repeatedly, the repeated actions of interrupting a thought before it would naturally dissolve. So that means when you have stopped the thought, there is still this rest of the cycle. There's still energy that's concealed. And there's still some revelation. We have to get the wisdom out of that particular cycle of the mind. And so you allow the thought to arise again, the same thought. And you go through this cycle of allowing it to be. It's created, it's preserved, and you again, you stop it before it ends on its own. Yeah, and gradually you come to the point where it first knows itself, parsley. And the moment you say, oh, parsley, stop it right there. You don't allow it to engage where on the field you're going to plant that. I said, okay, parsley, stop. And eventually the energy for it, because there's mental power that is being used unnecessarily. This is an unnecessary use of our mental engagement, of the oxygen, of the prana, of the very valuable brain networking that can do such complex things for survival, rather than allow the same thought to repeat itself, or a random thought that comes from any collective field. You don't know where the thought comes from, and it doesn't matter. But to be able to have that masterful ability to stop a thought before it even arises. Then the wisdom of that is still in concealment, and there is still the revelation and grace that needs to happen, which will happen in that pause, as we're able to engage in the pause, to go into the pause at the end of this creation, preservation, dissolution, and we go into the pause. So whatever is dormant and potent and is concealed will come up. And suddenly the thought will come up. I really don't have good water arrangements for my garden plot. It's no wonder I haven't planted anything in my new garden. This is my reality. I've not made the arrangements for water, other than watering by hand. So therefore, there was some insight that came, which I had been trying to prevent, suddenly arises. If you make the arrangements for water, you can plant the parsley, you can plant the coriander, and you can have your choice where you can plant on the field. What a relief. I'm done with that cycle of thought. And I accept that I need to make these water arrangements, or I have to be at peace that I need not grow my own herbs. I can go to Carrie's garden and buy them from her. I buy her honey, why not her herbs? So this is the power of being able to follow this cycle of thought in this pentad, the 5 great acts, the 5 ways that consciousness manifests. Remember, it's just a model, it's a framework, but it's very useful for us to get to the nature of mind, and therefore being able to work with the, not with the mantra, but to work with these questions that we can bring up into our inner space. So in this transition between kosha 4 and 5, as we move from the air element of the heart chakra to the space element of the throat chakra, Vishuddha chakra, purification, Vishuddha. V is a prefix that kind of intensifies the action of purification. At the external level, the bodily level, that's the endocrine system. Right at the, right at the front sits the butterfly-shaped gland of the thyroid, which is activated by our master gland of the pituitary in the brain. And the So this is all about the endocrine system, purifying the blood. So that's the link to the Pranamaya Kosha, Annamaya Kosha. And then with the larynx and all the ways that the act of speech, remember, the element of space is linked to two of our organs for speech and hearing, both the ears as well as all parts of the mouth used for speech. But in the Sankhya chart, they designate the tongue for speech and the tongue also for tasting. So our part of our DNA coding, the human genome for speech, it exists in all mammals. You know, whether you're a little rabbit or a mouse, you have the same DNA for all speech that humans have, but we are the only ones who have all of the parts of the throat anatomy that can make these subtle sounds, from gross to subtle. Back of the throat, that's called guttural. Then we make palatal sounds such as sha, cha, ja, ja. Then we make what are called cerebral sounds, da, 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 na, 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 dra, dra, ra, ra, ra. Then we make dental sounds, da, 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 da. And then we make labial sounds, ba, 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 ba. So in Sanskrit, all these sounds are organized in 5 sets, and the same organization is true in Aramaic, in Hebrew, in Arabic, in the original Egyptian languages. So the ancient languages all came with the knowledge of the sacred positions of the throat and their anatomy and how they affected our brain. And now we know that there's so much research going on in India with Sanskrit sounds and the proper articulation of mantra and which parts of the brain light up and what circuits and what they interrupt and how they take us into meditation, why mantra is important. In Yoga Nidra, this is for us to know some of the neuroscience behind paying attention, how to pay attention to the sankalpa, to the voice that is guiding, and then how to go into the deep dhyana flow in silence. To go into that silence, where all these questions are guides. Who is the knower? What is the emotion I'm feeling? What's the opposite emotion of that? You know, say we go into what's an event today that has bothered you. Just pick an event from today, or maybe this week. Maybe nothing bothered you today, but pick an event this week that bothered you right now. Pick an event, something. Pick an event that bothered you today or this week. Just pick an event in your mind, bring it up right in your mental screen in front of your closed eyes. Notice the emotions that come up with that event, what you felt strongly at the time, your memory of the emotions, the memory trace that the emotions leave. Now visualize the same scene, encounter, with the opposite emotions on the spectrum. If you felt sad, or if you felt angry, you felt frustrated, go to the opposite. You were okay with it. You were peaceful about it. You were accepting of what happened. So that's 2 ends of the spectrum. So what is this capacity within you that can hold both emotions for one event, for one encounter? that is still active in your memory. Who is the knower of this event? Who truly knows what happened in this event? Who knows? Who is the knower? How do we know? How do we know what happened? What senses did we use? What aspects of mind did we use? Our sensory mind? Our egoic mind, ahankara? Our intellectual mind, buddhi? What discernment, discrimination power is coming in right now for us to decide what to remember about this event? How do we remember what we remember? How do we know? Does it matter? Does it matter how we know? Who knows? Be the source of all that knows. Be the source of all the events that happen to you. Be the field in which these events happen. From the field of your body, the field of your senses, the field of the emotions, the field of the mind. Watching what happens. Watching the witness. Watching the participant. Watching how we know what we know. Sense engagement. The three aspects of mind. And the silence beyond all that. Be the silence. Feel the power of that silence from which all words arise, from which all sensations arise, from which all feelings arise, from which all thought arises. Connect to that source. Be the source. Feel the bliss of your being pervading your space, your mind, your field, your awareness. The bliss, the innate joy of consciousness exploring itself within you and me. Consciousness becoming itself. Relishing all the names and forms it takes. The you, the me, the we, the they. Come back to the breath. Following the breath. All around the throat chakra. Feeling the power of the breath. Expanding around the throat chakra like a donut ring of blue light. Deep sky blue. I'm visualizing 16 petals of this lotus of the throat chakra, glistening with the dew, soft bluish gray, with sparkles of blue light dancing on the petals, dewdrops on the lotus petals, and feel a warmth in your throat. Visualizing your larynx like an accordion, with the beautiful, resilient flaps expanding and contracting as we breathe air through it. This amazing structure of the vocal cords that allow us to speak and sing and hum and tone. And the passage of air around the tongue, the moist palate, the soft palate, the floor of the mouth, the cheeks, the back of the teeth, the roof of the mouth, the whole mouth from inside, and the lips, upper lip, lower lip, the whole mouth, the warmth, moisture, the air currents, the blue light around the throat chakra, the bija mantra. Let's receive the bija mantra of the throat chakra. Hum, 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 hum. Feel the resonance of the inner sound moving through the 16 petals. The warmth of the throat, the movement of the air currents, the breath inside the throat. Inhale, the exhale. A tiny pause between the inhale and the exhale, between the exhale and the inhale. Noticing the pause between a whole cycle of inhalation and a whole cycle of exhalation. Linking that to the pause in the mind cycle. And a thought arises, the thought is maintained, the thought is dissolved, the mental energy goes into dormancy. And there is a spark of insight or grace or revelation, some new wisdom for us. And the cycle begins again. The 5 great acts of consciousness. Who, why, when, what, where, how. What am I? What is this awareness from which everything arises and everything dissolves back, which gives us insights, which brings new wisdom? Who, what, why, how, where? 5 great questions of life. Bringing our awareness to the breath, massaging the throat chakra with our breath, and chanting aloud just the bija mantra of the throat chakra. Just follow my tones. Hum. Keep it flowing continuously. Hum. 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 Let's be in the silence of the self. Connecting with the self. Let's be awareness. Stopping a thought before it even arises. Sinking into the pause between 2 thoughts. Expanding the space of the mind. Gently feeling the sensations of the body, the flow of breath, of the throat, movement of air currents in the throat, the rise and fall of the chest, rise and fall of the belly. Just gently stretch your body, whatever position you're in. Just stretching the body, stretching out the arms, shaking out the hands, shaking out the feet, gently moving the head side to side, and a gentle spinal twist. Opening up the spine, deepening the breath, blinking the eyes. Hands in the Jnana Mudra, the wisdom lock, resting the hands with the palms raised up, head at a slight angle so that the forehead catches the sloping rays of the earth's field, and the back side of our head, the occipital lobe, is open to the cosmic prana. As we say the closing prayer, I want you to repeat after me so you get the pronunciation. Most sounds of D and T in Sanskrit are like in Spanish. They are soft. They're called dental sounds, dental sounds. So Om Asato Ma Sad Gamaya. Om Asato Ma Sad Gamaya. Again. Om Asato Ma Sad Gamaya. So Gamaya is lead me, guide me, make me go is the literal meaning of Gamaya. Make me go, make me move. From what to what? Asat. Asat is everything that is not the self. Everything that is not the base of existence. That means everything that's an illusion. Asat. So we talk of it as untruth, but it's really the base of life itself. And guide me to Sat. Take me to the ground of reality of my being, from which I may spiritually progress. If I'm in Asat, if I'm in illusion, there is no progress for me. Move me from there. So move me from the root chakra, move me from tamas. That's why it says, the next thing it says is tamaso ma jyotihi gamaya. Tamas, from the tamas guna. Take me, ma is me. Aham is I, and ma is me. Take me, ma. Jyotir gamaya. Jyotihi is the light of myself. It's a very sattva, like the light bulb that is lighted in your room because of a lump of coal from the earth that went into the steam turbine and was moved, and therefore the movement of the magnetic coil that causes electricity, just as the earth is a moving magnet that has its own electrical field. All other magnets on earth follow the same, including our bodies. So tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, guide me to the light of myself, the sattva. Mrityorma, mrityoho means from death, from all that decays. Mrityu is not only death, but everything that decays, everything that is impermanent. The clinging to impermanence. Remember the 5 kleshas, the 5 impurities of life? The most important one, the hardest one to rub off is the abhinivesha, or the clinging to life as we know it. So, mrityoho, from death or decay or from impermanence. Gamaya, guide me. Ma, guide me to amritam. Amrita is immortality, that which does not decay. And what is that? Our true self. The nature of consciousness. Guide me to my true nature. So this is the meaning of this And on your Yoga Nidra outline that you have from me at the bottom, I have the words as well as the line by line translation, but I didn't put in a word by word. I should make a word by word. I think it's very useful to have the word by word translation. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And if you want to honor all teachers, then we say Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. It means salutations to all teachers. Guru means to bring out that which is hidden. Gu is hidden, concealed. Ru is the alchemical energy of transformation, that which transforms the tamas guna into sattva. That is the meaning of the word guru. So he or she who is the catalyst to guide us from darkness to light. That is the guru. Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. And Harihi Om is honoring the pervading principle of consciousness, that which pervades. Hari is also one of the names of Lord Vishnu as the energy of preservation. Om Tat Sat. Om Tat Sat. Om, as you know, is the ultimate reality, which transcends all separate states of sleeping, waking, and dreaming, the 3+1. Tat. Tat is that, the Brahman, the eternal consciousness of all totality. That's that. Tat. Sat is existence. So, Om, ultimate reality, which is that, which means the transcendental aspect of consciousness. Sat, existence, which means the embodied aspect of consciousness. So when we repeat Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat 3 times, we're honoring that transcendental and the immanent aspect of that one consciousness in the 3 gunas, in the 3 aspects of time, in our 3 bodies, the gross body, subtle body, and our causal body. Then in 3 lokas or realms of consciousness, the physical universe, the atmospheric or intermediate universe, and the celestial or the yet to manifest universe. So 3 lokas, 3 bodies. And I have a chart for you that shows all these interrelationships, the koshas, the bodies, these lokas. It's one of your handouts among the ones called Sankhya. So it's something James helped me to develop some years ago. So it has all the Sanskrit characters as well. But it's just these models of mapping consciousness and how these mantras in their condensed energetic sounds then link us to consciousness. So that was an activity that took us deep into the mind. And because this group has already we've been practicing and training, I didn't have to do any of the beginning steps of Yoga Nidra. We were able to just go into it and just be there. I hope it was just enough and not too much. I don't know if any of you noticed your mind wandering a lot or.
Perfect. So wonderful. Thank you.
Who was that?
That's Karin.
Oh, Karan. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I thought it was just the right time. This is where intuition comes in. You have to use your intuition as a facilitator to know with a certain group of people, is this the right thing to do at the right time in guiding a practice. And with this group, everybody's ripe and ready.
Thank you.
We're coming into the fruition. So this next Sunday is going to be a blast. We're going to do a review and ask anything your heart wants. And there'll be a very juicy practice on the Anandamaya Kosha. And all of the partner sharing and small group sharing that we didn't get to do, we shall do. So bring at least one piece of Yoga Nidra research to share. And be ready to have a little vocal practice with your script with a partner. And we should offer, like, something, a few sentences, each one of us, to kind of, we have only 2 sessions left, but to start to offer a suggestion for the course, to offer a comment. I mean, it can be in the stream also. In the written form, but just to bring something from the heart to share. What changes you're noticing in yourself? What changes are you noticing in yourself? Thank you all very much. Be refreshed and sleep well tonight. Namaste.